Yes. Good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining us from anywhere in the world. I'm so happy and super excited to start this 2024 Boys Future Boys Challenge Global Conversation, the January edition. This topic was earlier scheduled, but because of time and other factors, we reschedule it for today. And the topic for today is boys radicalization and de-radicalization, understanding the circle and promoting positive change. Now, the issue of radicalization among boys has become a growing concern in many societies around the world. The process of radicalization involves the adoption of extreme ideologies and beliefs that often lead to violence or engagement in terrorist activities. It is crucial to understand the primary factors that contribute to boys' radicalization in order to develop effective strategies for their de-radicalization and reintegration into society. This webinar aims to shed light on the primary factors that contribute to the radicalization of boys and explore potential approaches for de-radicalization. I want to welcome our moderator as he take charge from here. I am Ola Akinwe, founder Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network, the host of today's event, and I want you to relax and join the conversations as the moderator will introduce everyone here today and give everyone the normal assignment of today's conversation. Thank you, my brothers. Thank you, my sisters. And thank you, my mentors, for being with us. I hope you were enjoying a fantastic conversation. You're welcome. Faith.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ola. It's always a pleasure joining you and being part of this great journey. I know this is like our 4th year, right, Ola? This is our 4th year doing Boys Future Boys Challenge. And we have walked a journey from Africa going all the way to the 5 continents of the world, just reaching out to the boy and getting to understand what are these issues that challenge the boy and how do we support him even as we become a global village. So we are truly appreciative of the platform that BMAN has given us over the years, and just to embrace us and help us walk this journey together. It's really a privilege. My name is Faith Nashipai. I am the Men and Boys Ambassador. I am also the founder of Thriving Communities Africa. And find me, you will find someone who always talks about men and boys. We want to see our world a gender equal society. We believe in balance. And that is why, for me, tonight, the radicalization of the boy is very critical, because we are losing our sons and we are losing our future in the wrong places. And this is for us to reclaim our boy and to bring him back to the space and say, because radicalization has been happening across, I mean, we don't just have to look at terrorism. Look at Africa. Radicalization is raw and ripe in Africa. Most of our nations are still having civil war, and many of our sons are being radicalized into political affiliations of different kinds. Then look at some of our communities and our social upbringing. In some of our communities, like in Kenya, there is a place where we are having our boys radicalized, and education is a problem. Progression in that community is a problem. Murder becomes a norm. And at the end of the day, we are asking, how do we reclaim our boys from all this? And how do we have a safe environment for all? I believe this is an approach that is going to support the development, the sustainable development goals that all of us in the globe are looking to achieve. Therefore, today, as we talk about the radicalization of the boy, let us not look at it as though we are talking about them. Bring it home. I'm a mother of 3 sons. And yes, we know some of the factors, and I know my colleague and my senior, Dr. Eunice, who is going to be speaking to us later, will be speaking about the social and psychological factors. I know that one of the factors or one of the drivers of radicalization is poverty. Again, look at Africa as a continent. We are always talking about poverty in our African continent. Our first sustainable development goals talks about eradication of poverty. Well, friends, we cannot continue not looking at the boy and not placing him at the center and asking what can we do to save him and to reclaim him. Therefore, in all our approaches and in all our thinking tonight, let us look at the boy as a solution. Let us not look at him as just a victim or as just someone who is causing mayhem in the society and in our globe. Well, that is it from me as we introduce, but before we get to our first speaker, I would like to invite Ola to give us a small video, a short video that is going to introduce us to a better understanding of our topic.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Faith, for that. And surprisingly, Daryl will join us in this conversation. I mean, the man that the actor in the film that had this first-hand experience. So as I share my screen, I expect us to enjoy this. Okay. Just can you all see my screen now?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm coming. Okay. Just a minute. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Okay. How about now? Can you share my screen?
We're getting there. We're right there.
Can you see my screen now, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
Hello? I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Faith, for bringing my attention to that. I was told you cannot hear the audio from the video. Does it apply to everybody? So what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chat room, and so if we can watch it to the end from the chat room, that would be okay. Just a minute. If you have the opportunity to stream it from there and share your screen with us, that would be well appreciated. As I put this in. Please mute participants that are coming in should be muted. Okay, the chat room now. Once more. Chat. Oh no. Just a minute, please. I'm trying to put the link in the chat room. So if anyone can help us with this, that would be well appreciated. And then we can move on from there and continue with. But this is an important movie we need to share. So, Faith, that's it on the chat room. So if you can click on that and share the remaining of it, that would be great. But with that being said, we can also move on because Daryl will be joining us as well himself. Any moment from now. Okay. Thank you, Ishmael. Ishmael also have the link there, so we can get this on. Oh, Jerome is here. Thank you, Jerome, for joining us. Really appreciate you. That's the founder of World Day of the Boy Child, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for coming in. The video is about 15 minutes. We have like 4 minutes left. So, Faith, do you want to continue about that, or we can? What do you advise? You're muted, Faith. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ola. I think because we are we could not hear much of the video. What we can do is we can first continue with the first speaker, and
Okay.
should we have an opportunity later, we can pick it up.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ola. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe you have seen something about what we are talking about. This is a young man who later becomes an immigrant and faces a situation that the old person comes out. And unfortunately, in the process, he also meets another immigrant who witnesses what is happening. And that is exactly where we are at. However, because of time and because of the network challenges, we are not able to proceed with viewing that beautiful clip. I'll therefore allow us to move on swiftly to our first panelist, who is going to articulate a little bit about the psychological and social factors on boys' radicalization. I have known Madam Eunice M. Sugut for about 4 years now. She is a colleague who we've worked together. And today she is not going to wear the hat where I met her. allow me not to mention that unless she feels comfortable mentioning that. But I know Dr. Msugut as a wonderful psychologist, counseling psychologist in Kenya. She is also a mentor and a coach on areas to do with social transformation. Therefore, let us give her a thumbs up from our little emojis, and also give her a clap as we welcome my senior, Madam Eunice, Dr. Eunice Msugut. Karibu.
Thank you, Faith. You have all heard. I'm Eunice Msugut. The other hat which she's mentioning, which I don't want to mention, I'm a police officer, but that hat is aside. I'm a chief inspector of police, but pertaining this forum, I'm joining specifically not as a police officer, but a counseling psychologist, and also as a lecturer who have interacted with so many students, and also a mentor who works with schools, high schools, students, and also as a mother, because I happen to have 2 teenagers, Form 4, who are candidates, boys. Now, I think for us to start with, it's good maybe for all the participants to be in tune on what we are talking about, which is boys' challenges, and to be precisely radicalization. And we all know that it's a process which an individual, and in this context, a boy child whom we are talking about, or a group who embraces a radical ideology or beliefs that accepts, uses, or condones violence. And this includes acts of terrorism, to be specific. But then the question that we need all to ask this evening is what are the causes, or what could have led, or what could lead a boy child to be radicalized or to engage himself in violence, or maybe accept to be extremism by the influence of other people, let's say politicians. And that pushes back to the causes, or rather the challenges that the boy child experiences or go through. And for me as a psychologist, it goes back. When the mother is expecting this child, are there any pressure, stress, challenges that the mother could be exposed to during pregnancy? Because in mental health, when one is expecting a child and you are exposed to traumatic experience, that's also affect not only the mother, but also the child. And for that factor, we cannot miss to talk about the predisposing factors that this child grows up with right from the womb of the mother. And during her early childhood, what are these traumas that this child might have been exposed to? Looking at Africa, and even to our own country here in Kenya, East Africa, and Africa in general, and even globally, there are so many things that are happening. And with the technology, even these small toddlers, they are now, in fact, now we are talking about a generation whom we are calling researchers. Even a 5-year-old is exposed to technology. And now when one is exposed to technology, and then we talk also about vicarious trauma, that even they watch, and yet their brain is not well developed. So this child who is growing up, because research has indicated that when a child is exposed to poor environment, and in this context, I'm bringing in the second P, the precipitating factors, the triggers around where the boy is growing up. All those traumas, if they are not supported while they are growing up, they grow up with it. And now, looking at the first trauma, which we are talking about, the predisposing factors, when the mother is expecting this child and the mother is exposed to violence from a small family setup, maybe the mother and the father are fighting, and yet the mother is pregnant, or the mother is expecting this little boy in her womb, that automatically exposes that child, that boy child, to trauma. And then now the second P, which I'm talking about, the precipitating factor, the triggers around the environment where the child is growing up. My friend and colleague Faith mentioned about the poverty in Africa in general. These boys growing up where they are struggling even to eat, leave alone even going to school for education. The boys growing up where people are stealing, the father maybe need to steal to provide. And all those things the child is observing, and the brain is not yet developed. Because psychologists believe that for one to be able to comprehend in terms of intellectual and everything, that brains develop in between 50s, which we talk about mid-20s years old, 7-year-old, her brain, and then he's exposed to all sort of trauma around him. And that brings in another P, the perpetuating factors. As this child is growing up, are there other factors that maybe might be maintaining violence around him that can make this child grow up, even developing some disorders? Talk about personality disorders. We all know that for one, or for us to be able to say that this person has a personality disorder, maybe aggressive. Talk about some other disorder like bipolar. It takes time for us to be able to rule that. Conduct disorders, I have seen that in boys. And all this is because of what is maintaining all those negative factors around the environment where this boy child is growing up. Allow me to talk about Africa, to be precise, whereby a boy child is brought up, and because of culture, they instill in this boy child that whenever you go through issues, you are a man, you are not supposed to cry. Look at this young boy growing up knowing that even if I feel pain, that's my pain, and I should not share with any person. So he is growing up with it. But then the good news, you and I who are here today, we should talk about the last P, the protective factors. If this child is growing up in this environment, knowing that the world is not kind enough, knowing that I am a boy and I need to fight my way out. And this is the same boy who is exposed to so much trauma at the end of the day. All those factors. And then he's growing up knowing that you have to struggle to eat. And then comes here a politician who is ready to offer some cash for this boy to eat. And that points out why you'll find majority of these young men joining violence, being used by politicians to do all sorts of evils. They take advantage of these young people and exploit them, because at that point, this boy child is vulnerable. And so what do we need to do when we are talking about the last key protective factors? This calls for an integrated approach. We need a holistic approach to prevent this cycle. And you know, with any cycle of violence, if you are not going to break it, it goes on, and so it will be moving from generation to generation. But then, even before we talk about our interventions on where we need to step in, now look at the parenting style. We are all very busy, the father figure, very busy just to provide for this boy child. Do we have even time with them? But then the other thing that rings in my mind, again, I look at the current father. And then I also look back. How was the current father brought up in the first place? How was the environment? And how was he nurtured? Could it be that how we are parenting this boy, the current boy child, the same way we were parenting, ignoring the fact that we are also experiencing generational gap. The way the boy child, who are our age mates who are parented, you cannot transfer that parenting style to the current generation. Way back, some of us, our spouses, the way they were parented, technology was not the way it is currently. It was not phones. And you get,
Dr. You're breaking.
Get a 3-year-old watch. So even the kind of, okay, so maybe now,
Doc, your net is dropping.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, you're back.
Sorry, I'm back. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, when we are going to look up about the challenges, there are so many. There are so many challenges. Look at the peer pressure. Look at the poverty around. Look at about how this child was exposed to early trauma while he was growing up. Because to me, if this boy child is using today alcohol or any substance of abuse, that is a coping mechanism to the underlying problem that the boy is going through, that the boy is experiencing. Extremism is a con to that person at that time because of the issues that the boy child might be going through at that time. So the only solution that at that time maybe is dying by suicide, maybe it's joining extremism, maybe it's taking substance, or maybe using of alcohol. And so for us to help a boy child, we all need to join hands, because again, research have found out that having supportive family, teachers, peers will make this boy successful. Other than leaving this boy, condemning the boy, I as a police officer arresting the boy, that will not be helping out. But if today we are going to help this boy child to navigate life, and then it goes back to the parenting style that the parents are applying, and also the caregivers. Can we urge the parents and the caregivers and encourage them to have a strong bond with their sons, so that their sons are able to disclose some of the challenges they are going through? Can we also tell the teachers not to stigmatize the boy if he's not performing well in class, not to label them? And you and me, could we now initiate programs, advocate for this boy child, create awareness, disseminate this information to people who are not able even to join virtue program the way we are doing? Can we go to the grassroots where we can meet that mama who does not access technology, who is not connected, who is not even having a cell phone, and tell that mama that you need to bring your son close to you, and tell that mzee, that man, that you need to bring your son close to you so that he's able to share some of the challenges that he's going through. Could we tell the teachers at schools?
2 minutes.
Thank you, I'm winding up. Could we set up programs in schools to strengthen families in partnering with local mental health facilitators and community, so that we support the parents? Can we also teach young boys today how to use good social skills, life skills, problem-solving skills, how to be able to regulate their emotions when it's early? Can we tell them about self-awareness, self-identity? Could we do that campaign to instill hope and confidence? Because some of them, beside the society labeling them and stigmatize them, they are also experiencing self-stigma, self-rejection. And if we are going to do that, we are going to help a boy child. We are going to bring them back to the track if we all join hands. The society in general, the experts, the teachers, and the parents. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eunice. A great submission right there, telling us that if we join hands, we are going to win the boy child. And yes, you have really tackled quite a lot. Parenting, what do we really need to do? What are the challenges right from the time the boy is conceived all the way to him becoming a man? You have really walked us the journey, and thank you so, so much. Well, we have seen a boy who's radicalized. We saw a clip, even though it was not complete. However, and I know we are going to go back and really view the clip later after this. But then we get to a place where we are getting solutions on prevention. We have gotten very interesting solutions on prevention by Dr. Eunice M. Sugut. How then do we help a boy who has already been radicalized? How do we salvage the many boys of civil war in Africa who have been, and the many boys who are in terrorism today because of poverty, who have been already radicalized? Let's get to listen to a gentleman that is just life in himself. My brother and my good friend who is reaching us today, Dave Armstrong. He calls himself Sensei Dave. Sensei Dave is an he's a US Force, a US Air Force veteran, former martial arts school owner, and recipient of 2 military outstanding voluntary service medals for his 20 years of service to his community. The interesting thing about Sensei Dave is that he is a product of a broken family. He is a product of a broken family, has gone through foster homes and foster care, and that is how he grew up. He lost his mom when he was only 13 years, yet he has grown and overcome all these obstacles and become a great citizen of the world. Today, all the way from California, he is joining us from Greece. So he's definitely a global citizen. And yes, we are going to listen to him because when I was looking at his profile, I also noticed that he has been doing parenting, teen parenting, helping teenage parents, helping young parents, helping parents to learn and to understand how to do better in their parenting journey. I believe that we could not have had a better speaker today. So as always, and I want also to make this special announcement, when you get to hear something nice and you like it, please applaud using the emojis right there. Throw in a heart, throw in a clap, throw in a big thumbs up, celebrate something. Every other time when you hear something, let's do this and let's welcome our good friend. And I'm already sending my good reactions as I welcome Sensei Dave. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Faith. I appreciate that. Ola, thank you for bringing us all together. The rest of the panelists, thank you for being here. Everybody that's watching, thank you for coming with an open mind and ready to learn and to make a difference. And it's not just learning that we want to do, right? We want to actually go and do. We want to employ the things that we learn. And so that's what we're here to do, is to take the pieces, the nuggets of information that all of the panelists are putting their heart, knowledge, and soul into sharing and applying it. Because knowledge without application is nothing, right? It's just pointless. You know, I think about youth, our young boys, growing up in different environments, and becoming radicalized, becoming pulled into things that we know as a global society, as a world, are not doing any good for the betterment of mankind. And so I'll share with you, for myself as an example, as a young man, I was pulled into gangs. I was selling drugs, I was beating people up, I was arrested at 11 years old for felony armed robbery. I want you to let that gravity sink into your mind just for a minute. A little kid that could barely even hold a pistol up is running around town robbing people with a pistol at 11 years old. And so, as I always do when I sit down and I do a conference or get together with a group of people to mentor or lead them, I always ask why. What's your purpose? Why are you here? What are you doing? If you've hired me as a life coach, why? If you want to speak better on stage, why? If you want to change the radicalization of young men, you have to start with Well, why? What's your purpose? Why do you want to change that? And I think all of us here can easily say we want to change it for the betterment of the world. But I want to go a little deeper. I want to change that for the betterment of one individual at a time. One young man that could end up in prison, that could end up with a bullet between his eyes, that could end up killing multiple people. You know, we know that in the United States, we have a problem with mass shootings. This is when one young person, usually a male, goes into a school or a mall and starts shooting people. And oftentimes he will turn the gun on himself. And you think, well, why? It's because of hope. Without hope, you're void. You don't believe that you can achieve anything. Without hope, you're not going to achieve anything. So our young men are hopeless. They're apathetic. They're tired. They're tired of being picked on. They're tired of being homeless. They're tired of the violence in the home. They're just tired of just not having a safe space. Even us as adults want a safe space. So think about the youth in the hoods that you're living in, whatever country you're living in, it doesn't matter. Whatever city, whatever state, there's a hood. There's an area that you think of that you go, you know, I wouldn't really run around there at night. You know, I don't know if I'll be coming back with both of my kidneys. And I want you to think about the young people that are just born. You didn't have any choice of where you were born, did you? Did anyone raise your hand if you had a choice of who your parents were? What about what country? Did anyone choose what country they were born into? None of us. And so think about that young man that just happened to be born into the hood, into the ghetto, into that environment that is not conducive of success, that is not conducive of hope. And as he ages and he sees violence, as he ages and he feels ever more hopeless, like there's no escape from this. I don't see anyone succeeding that has come from here, that has come from Nigeria, that has come from Kenya, that has come from Los Angeles. I don't see successful people. That young man begins to feel like, well, what does anything I do matter? And then it just takes one person to either pull him in the right direction or the wrong direction. I'm going to talk about the wrong direction. A drug dealer, a weapons smuggler, a cartel boss. All three of them are businessmen. They're all in business and they're very wise, very good businessmen. And so if I want to employ some people in my business to give it their all, to risk their life, in hope of some money, in hope of maybe making it up to a different position as a cartel member, the younger, the better. Think about that. The younger I could get a kid into my business, the better. The more I own him. So understand that these businessmen on the negative side of the world are looking for employees, and they're looking for employees that they can mold, that are malleable, that they can shape into the person that they absolutely need. If I need someone to risk his life to smuggle some drugs across the border, I got that kid that I've been grooming since he was 11 and now he's 18. Wow. But on the other side, we have people like us right now, right here, our panelists and everyone that's watching that is going, well, I think I'm a good person. I've done some good stuff. I'm relatively successful or very successful. I think I have something to offer. I would say offer yourself to a young man or a young woman that needs you. Because if you don't, that cartel boss is going to offer himself to that person, right? They're going to employ that young man. And that young man is going to be the next Unabomber, the next mass murderer, the next person that decides to hijack an aircraft and crash it into the Twin Towers. These were all people. They were all young men that lost hope. So as a community, I think we have to educate our young people. We have to inspire our young people. We have to let them know that there's some hope. But without action, without something in front of them, without something tangible in front of them, they're going to know that you're just faking it. And the tangible that you're going to offer them is your time, is your love, is your community, is your phone call, is your Facebook post saying, hey, we went out to have ice cream today. We went out and played soccer. Ola, I see you post all the time with all the young men that you are providing hope to. And with that hope, they're going to go on to do big and bright things in this world. But just know that there's an antithesis to that, the lack of hope. So make sure that you're involved, that you do something, that you care enough to come outside your own comfort zone and provide hope. Even if it's just to know that you're keeping others from dying or keeping bad things from happening. I guarantee you that young person that you're mentoring, that you're helping, they're going to have a special place in your heart. I've done it for thousands of young people, and I tell you, they have a special place in my heart. I hope that leaves you with something tangible. I hope that leaves you with some motivation to get outside of your comfort zone, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what age, gender, ethnicity. There's someone out there that you can provide hope to. And that hope will save their lives. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, Dave, that was amazing, Dave. That was amazing.
Awesome.
I wish we are all dealers of hope. I can't thank you enough because I feel challenged because of the truth. You just said it all. Whether it's poverty, it boils down to hope. Whether it's marginalization, it boils down to hope. Whether it's family dynamics, it boils down to hopes in the family. Thank you. Faith, you can bring Daryl in to before Casino, and Daryl will share his film with us. While we are watching his film, we'll have interaction after watching his film. And finally, we go back to Casino, who will give us the grassroots activism as to how it will help us to de-radicalize boys. So Faith, back to you.
Whoa, we have the real man in the house. Daryl, how are you? You're most welcome in Kenya. We say karibu sana. You're welcome. And I'm doing this so that you can also get prepared and at least be able to, I hope, Ola, you've shared sharing screen rights so that at least he can be able to share his video. Ola, I can't hear you.
Daryl, I'm going to add you, I'm going to make Daryl a co-host so that you can share your screen, and that would be fantastic. So that we'll see you share your screen with us, and we'll be glad to have you also share your experience, how radicalization, your experience with the Sierra Leone experience. We want to hear that from you, and we're most glad to welcome you to this discourse. The universe brought you for this purpose, and we want to thank you that we're going to make greater connection from here and do more about your work on that's your short clips. Thank you, Daryl. The floor is yours.
Oh, I think Ishmael is gonna play the film now, and then I guess I could briefly talk about why this film even came about. So when I grew up in Sierra Leone, I grew up during the Civil War, and during the conflict, I remember I was in my house and looking outside, and I saw a boy that was pretty much my same age, and he was dragging this RPG to go fight the ECOMOG forces down the road. And as a kid, as about 9, 10, it just hit me, we're both the same age. And here he is fighting a war. And that image always stuck with me. So after I left, came to the US, that have always, in a way, just seared into my mind as to what could have possibly happened to him. So that was the inspiration for the film. Because, you know, for me, I was lucky enough, we left, we went to the Gambia, and then I moved around West Africa and also lived in Eritrea after a while for a bit. And then, you know, came to the US, and I'm like, I don't know if that kid survived that day. You know, and the film is, what if it did survive that day? And what could be the consequences for it? You know, because which is also why you need rehabilitation and figuring out how to be integrated into this society. So that was the inspiration for the film, and I could talk a little bit more about it after you guys watch it. And yeah, Ishmael, are you able to play the film? See here.
So Daryl, as Ishmael gets prepared, what do you do other?
Two things at one time. I apologize. Let's see.
Gotcha.
Let's see if I can share.
Okay.
All right. All right. Give me one moment.
Daryl, as he launches the clip, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a filmmaker. I tell stories. I'm a writer, director, and an actor. And yeah, since I moved to the US years ago, I've been telling stories that are close to my heart, which is, you know, Land of Dry Bones. You know, it's a story I've always wanted to tell and share. And yeah, I make films.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Pleasure
Can
meeting
you guys see it?
Good to meet you too. Oh, I think, yeah, he has it up now.
Can you hear it? Is it loud enough?
No, we can't hear anything. Okay, it's not showing. You need to enlarge your screen, start playing, and unmute the clip. Still no voice.
All right, I'll pause it. Can you guys hear it? Is it loud enough? Is it good? Is it okay?
No, we can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No.
And we're not seeing anything. Just
Yeah,
a
we're also
small,
not seeing. You need to enlarge your screen. The screen view.
All right, let me try to.
Could we maybe have folks come in so that we can save on time as we get prepared with the clip? Then we'll get back
Actually,
to later.
let's try this. Ola, can you make Daryl a co-host and see if he'd be able to share it? Because I'm actually doing it from my phone. Daryl, are you able to, if Ola makes you a co-host, are you able to share it?
Oh, I have no idea how to do that.
I'll help you out. I'll help you. It's super easy. I'll help you.
So we can have a submission by Ras folks in the next 10 minutes as we get this done as Ishmael and Daryl get prepared.
Cool, sounds good.
Thank you. Ras, the
Okay.
oldest man around and the great inspiration to many of us, you're most welcome.
Well, listen, thank you for the tech is always an issue, but
Oh yeah.
there are secret drop-down menus in Zoom that allow you to share your system sound. Sharing screen is not enough to get the sound out to the rest of us. So until you figure that out, we need to just move forward. Now, listen, Daryl, thank you. You know, me as representing the an older generation. I grew up in a time when there was no such thing in my neighborhood. Okay, in my experience earlier on, this radicalization was going with your friend to get an extra ice cream cone when your parents didn't want you to have that much sugar. I mean, this was not radicalization. So and is it not interesting that one of your choices for the beginning of your clip, because we were able to see a little bit at the start, was your interaction with some white racists who themselves were born into a radicalized society. They didn't choose to be the racists that attacked your character. And thank goodness you fought back. However, it was not their choice. They grew up in isolation. And I think this is a key element in all radicalization. You are isolated. Now, that isolation could be a small little thing, or it could be your entire country or your entire culture. But from the rest of the world, you don't see options. As Dave so eloquently said, if you don't realize there are options, you don't have any hope for getting one of those options or working towards it. So I would just simply add to all of this wonderful discussion that it is in the nature of being a human being that we need to connect. We need to know that we are not the only being around. And ideally, family is that structure. Family is that which we fight for. It shows who we belong to. It gives us our frame of reference. In a good sense of the term, it is our gang. And it's our gang based on love, support, education, giving people a chance, giving them the idea that failure has nothing to do with doing something wrong. Failure is that step towards success. Oh, that didn't work. Well, let me learn this, rather than taking into your personality, I messed up, therefore I'm no good, or I'm not capable. And so, just like a tornado that picks up a whole lot of debris, from dust to cars and houses and people and animals, we pick up a lot of negative information. We pick up so much difficult to deal with emotions. And if we don't have a way to either express them, and we are told by our culture, well, you're a boy child, you're not allowed to either express them or show anything, because that's weakness. That's not being a man. Well, nothing could be farther than the truth. But once you accept that, then this negative emotion, which would love to be at least experienced and expressed, gets stuck in the tornado. And that piece of debris keeps churning around inside this boy child or girl child until something unfortunate happens. And that is, this thing becomes a filter. And how I look at life gets run through that filter. The filter of, I need to not be who I am. That's a filter. I'm afraid of certain things. I'm sad because of things. I feel devalued because of conditions I've experienced. Even in the womb, I've taken on that vibrational emotion, and it's in my field, and I'm carrying it around. And it is now the filter that I live life through. Now, there are ways of dealing with that. And Dr. Eunice, she does this all the time in dealing with people. Dave Armstrong does it all the time in allowing a safe place where this junk in the tornado can actually be excised, allowed to have its full experience or expression, and then it becomes information. It becomes a lesson. It does not become the limiting factor. So in boys' radicalization, here I am, looking at it from a more Anglo-European aspect, but when you get to be my age, you realize that has nothing to do with anything, and it's something I need to constantly fight against. As humans, we have this need to have meaning, and if the only meaning we have is that debris from childhood experiences that's still circulating, and I have to look through all of that to see how I can exist, then we are damaged. How do we avoid it? By providing a community. Ola does it. By providing the potential for a father figure. By, as David said, to provide hope potentially. This is ideal. It may be the only experience, but it is a touchstone that you can reach back to. Say, I remember Ola. He suggested this, or I had that experience at the marathon, that a man was passing the baton to me, a boy, and trusted me to get it to somewhere else. That's what families are for. That's what community-based organizations are for. And so how do we do this? We give our support in any possible way to something which is going to allow boys to experience not just hope, but what happens as a result of hope. Moving forward, taking experiential steps, being congratulated, being supported, being allowed to make a mistake, and then moving forward because you learned that lesson. Congratulations, kid. Wonderful. Who's cheerleading? Everybody needs a cheerleader. It's supposed to be our family, our community, our supportive friends. And if you're isolated and you don't have them, then someone else is going to be your friend. And it's going to be the drug lord, or it's going to be the gang leader. All I can suggest is that there are ways out, but it requires that all of us face our own fears about dealing with problems. Well, I'm not capable of that. I can't possibly, I don't know anything about that. And so you're quiet. But Dave hit it right on the head. Dave, you said to us all, find one person. Give yourself. You have no idea what that connection is going to require, but you do it anyway. You know the old book that was written back in the 60s or 70s, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway? That's what we all got to do. Anyway, these are just little touch points. There is a way out. The best way out is by preventing a kid from going in. Once in, the challenges are bigger. But if you can connect and show hope, even in the middle of a disastrous situation, most kids will, if you hit that point, if they see your authenticity, they'll realize that what they've been radicalized by is not the only game in town. That's so important to see that there is an option. Options, it's another word for hope. We need to provide some options for the kids who have found themselves in a more radicalized situation. So how you do that, that's up to you. But because of Ola, because of Dave, because of all of you, and Daryl, congratulations. Thank you so much for the film. We did see a little bit of it at the beginning, although we did have the tech worked out. But the concept is real. We have a life, and we need to be productive and connective in that life. I could go on, as I usually do, but I'm going to let Daryl, hopefully there's the tech problems have been worked out, but I can't applaud you all enough for being here, for being able to approach this problem. When Ola first suggested it to me, I said, well, we don't have that problem here in the United States. Oh, how foolish I was. I needed to really think about it for a moment and realize it may have different outcomes. It may look a little bit different, but the idea is a kid is not dealing with the reality that's inside him or her. And until we allow that reality to open up, and let's explore all the pain. Let's explore the bad choices. Let's explore what is missing. And then by sharing yourself, thank you, Dave, you will be instrumental in allowing that child to see, I do have an option. I don't have to feel this any longer. That's the thing they're trying to get out of. They're not trying to get out of a family. They're not trying to get out of a gang. They're trying to get out of their own turmoil. And that's the thing that Dave is talking about. That's the thing that Dr. Yunus was talking about. And I'm sure this is the thing that Daryl is going to hit on. And that is what we are doing is getting out of our own way. And we're assisting others to do that also. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Russ. I will invite Dave to kindly share his screen. Dave, kindly share. I can't hear, Dave. There's no sound.
Well, that's good. How's school? Making any new friends?
Well, nobody's making fun of my accent anymore. I'm friends with this boy named Chester. He's funny. The other kids think I'm cool now.
Emmanuel, the last time we talked, I brought up the past. About how you lost your parents, Sierra Leone. How you came to be here. Do you remember? Do you want to talk about it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what?
I don't remember what happened.
We're out of eggs.
I'll just put them on the list. I might go to the store later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carla's mom emailed about the soccer tournament tomorrow. She wants me to drop you off an hour early so you guys can practice before the game.
I don't want to play anymore. Our team sucks and I want to quit.
Sweetheart, it isn't that bad, right?
Sorry, you're on your own on this one. Yeah.
Okay, you guys do suck. But you're halfway through the season. You can't quit on your teammates. Come on, try to have some fun, will ya?
I'm not convinced.
I'm not either.
You're not helping. You're not helping. I'll take you to the carnival next week.
For real this time?
Pinky swear.
I still like it when Sarah makes breakfast.
I heard that.
Aww.
I'm not saying I don't like it when you make your pancakes, but that's all you make.
It's not all I make.
It really is all you make, babe.
Wait, I made toast last week.
Burnt toast. It was so good.
It was brown. It was crispy. It was crispy toast.
Your turn, your turn.
I spy with my big eyes something yellow.
Yellow? I don't see anything yellow.
Well, I guess it's technically pink.
Wait, oh, you can't just change it. That's not how you play the game.
It was yellow, like from afar, and then it turned pink.
You suck at this. My turn, my turn. I spy with my huge eye. Well, Francis is being really rude.
Yeah.
Tell her to calm down.
What do you guys want? You want pizza?
Let's do pizza.
Yeah,
Cheese.
cheese,
Right?
pizza?
Right?
Okay.
Cheese pizza, girls.
Keep walking.
So what's the hurry, Emmanuel? You think you can just walk around here freely after what you did?
You were stealing from the job, Roger. I had no choice. I would have gotten laid off.
Honey, I'm scared.
It's okay, sweetheart.
She's scared, Roger.
You don't have to do this, man.
You hear that? Fucker says I don't need to do this.
Not in front of my daughter, man.
Oh. Apologize. Yeah. Yeah, you can go. Hey, go on. Go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
I am calling the police.
Bitch, you put that fucking thing down! Now, where were we? Now, what are you gonna do? I think he's gonna... Oh, fuck, I fucking know! Oh, fuck! Oh.
I don't know what happened. I was just trying to protect her. Sweetheart.
You almost killed him.
Woman's name is Mariama Conte. Claims she saw an attack down on 7th, right there where the grocery store is.
The grocery store?
Yeah. Called in pretty distraught about 45 minutes ago. Said she didn't want to talk to us on the phone, wanted to talk to us in person.
Anything else come in on this? Victim reports, EMTs, anything?
Nothing. No victims, although she does claim to know the assailant.
Hello? Thanks for coming in. I'm Detective Whitell. This is Detective Kingsley. You have something you want to tell us?
It is him. He is here. I will never forget that face. They burned down my entire village. I remember when he came to my house. He made me watch as he slaughtered my family. The things he did to them. He was the devil himself.
You're sure that this is Mr. Anderson? But we're talking about a 10-year-old boy here.
And this is what, 15, 20 years ago?
Yes, I am sure. Even after all these years, you don't forget a face like that.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, thank you for calling me. I'll be sure to, yeah, I will. Okay, thank you so much. I have to go. Bye. I got a call from Detective Whitell. That man is in the ICU.
I heard.
And there's this woman. She's she's talking about all of these things that you did. Horrible things. Are they all true?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't remember much from my childhood. I think some part of me doesn't want to remember.
Oh my God. You could have.
You think I want that past? I don't remember my family. What happened to them? I was just a child, Sarah. You stand over there looking at me with this judgment. I was 8 years old, in the middle of war. I don't know what happened to me. It was so terrible. It's better to forget. He's such a sweet boy. I think he's made a lot of progress. But it seems that he's chosen to repress the bad memories, which is not uncommon. You know, some people deal with trauma that way. They box it up and hide it away so that they don't have to think about it.
but it can still be affecting them unconsciously. How is he at home?
You should see him. He's happy now. He just wants to be a normal kid.
My concern is, what happens when those memories don't stay hidden? Repressed memories can be triggered by any number of identifiers, and they can cause confusion and stress. With your consent, I would like to explore those memories. Studies have shown that unboxing them in a certain environment...
He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to what?
See you anymore.
Daryl.
Dr. Eunice, I'm kind of moved to let you look at this from the psychological point of view of what has happened to Daryl. Daryl, you made us feel like we're at war during this experience, and I will get back to you. But before we review this film, can we bring in the experience of Kasano so that we review the two of them together afterwards? Because we have some questions for Daryl, and I guess I have one or two questions for Dr. Eunice too. And also, Daryl, I want you to tell us the place of education after we come back from Kasano, how it reformed and refined you to be able to live outside of this trauma that you went through. But not now. Brother Casino, Faith, please bring Frederick on so that we can have both of them afterwards.
Thank you very much, Ola, for that direction. And yes, indeed, I felt like I was right in Sierra Leone at some point, and then I went all the way to, a family that is facing very unresolved wounds from a father, and the father just pouring and bleeding on the family. That is really, really deep. Daryl, thank you so much for the good work and putting it out there. I want to bring our friend, another Kenyan. Today we are having 3 Kenyans on the panel. Thank you, Ola, for this. I feel honored. I have a friend and a brother called Frederick Njoroge. Frederick Njoroge is a young man who has seen it all. I had an opportunity and an experience to meet with Frederick about 3 years ago when I was doing a community hosting of a TV show, and he was coming to share his story from a boy-child experience. And he shared about his upbringing, the way he went into prison, the way he came out, and the great man that he has become in reforming communities and helping young men manage challenges and issues in his community. So yes, if you're talking about radicalization, this is one man who had been radicalized. If you're talking about de-radicalization, this is a good example of what we have experienced in Kenya, and he continues to impact and give hope, as Dave said earlier. Welcome so much, Frederick. Pigaluku, reformist, where are you? Thank you.
I'm here. I was listening and following up everything. Yeah, I'm glad to be here at International Forum. Yeah, as you have heard from Nashipai, I'm Frederick Njoroge, my real names, but on the ground community, I'm known as Kasanoi. Also run an initiative called Pigaluk Initiative, which I collect second-hand clothes from well-wishers and give them to the street families and the needy families in the slum. Yeah, and also I'm a member of VICO organization, is a CBO here in Mukuru slum. Yeah, I was born and raised here in Mukuru slum in 1992. And I'm not that much learned. I'm primary level. As I finished class 8 KCP. And here in my community there before, our role models were criminals, people who are in crime. They were our role models. You find that someone who is owning a car, someone who is owning a structure, someone is, maybe even our landlord was a criminal. So I grew in that. Even me, I was wanting to be one of them and become another level, even dangerous than them. And I became, I became that life. I remember when I was 16 years old, I started my life as a hammer. I was putting guns for criminals who were operating in Nairobi. And in 18 years, those who were before me, they were gunned down, and I joined them. And I took from them. For 9 years, I've been in crime here in Nairobi. We operated, and many of my colleagues, they were gunned down by security. No time and season, as we go in security, we are going to another level here in Kenya. And I became reformed one day because I was having a target to do that job. I was having a target when I reach 25 years, I'll be having plots. You know, everyone want to own a land, house, whatever, cars, big life. But I didn't make it to that level. I got money, but I didn't get the wealth that I was aiming. And I decided to reform. And I left my house where I was living, because at that time, I remember I shifted from slum. I went to estate, I rent there. But when I decided to reform, I was asking myself, where will I go? Which job will I go to do? Will community accept me? And at that time, I remember I was very wanted. What I decided to do, I went to be a homeless. I joined homeless families, which is called street family. And I stayed there for 3 years. And that 3 years, what made me also to come out of homeless, I was listening to stories for people, different people. Why are you here? Why are you here? And some were coming from United States. They were having a good job. Some were coming from Karen. They were having good family. So when I seated and listened to those cases, I realized that mine is different and small. So I decided to chip in on community volunteering, and I became a community volunteer and a champion, and I grown up to activists. And that's the time that I met Nyashipai. I remember the first time to meet her. We talked, we opened up. She encouraged me what she do as a ambassador of men. I was shocked. Ambassador's men is a woman. Yeah, we talked more. She encouraged me. I shared my story to her. He gave me tips how to grow in the community. Because that time when I met her, also having that I was having that low, we call it what? Representation. I was not having that energy of talking to people and sharing my story, but she encouraged me, and even now where I am, also through social media, I met Ola. I see Ola, what he was doing in Nigeria through social media. I spend 5 hours in social media per day, doing my researches, also uploading what I'm doing. Like today was giving books to students who are going back to school. Yeah, and I've grown up. I can testify that I've grown up, and also I'm born again Christian. I'm an evangelist. Yeah, that continue of growing up. I also do things called PCV. I'm a member of PCV community activities in preventing, countering violence extremism. I'm in a pillar of education pillar. I also train street families because many people are talking about community who live at informal settlement, but they have gotten about homeless. When those homeless get radicalized, you can't realize. Here in community, someone can be radicalized and you know, but homeless family, people who live in a perimeter wall of estates, when they get radicalized and they go maybe to Somalia, you can't know. You see, because they are not even in data for either those sensors. They are not doing censored. So as I also tell organization, when you are doing anything concerning community, start with the homeless. Like me, the way I met those organizations who were doing in homeless. And I have seen many people being radicalized through religious, through sports. People came pretending to support football teams. Then at last you hear that a player who was a good striker is now missing. Then you come to see him in a TV. You have already committed a terrorism act. You see activity. So I've been talking to youths and telling them about it. And we are working hard to see the coming generation that they're not engaged, especially those who are not learned, and also learned materials. Yeah, they are also radicalized. They're being radicalized, especially those who are coming from universities. Because what you are taught in university and maybe what you are thinking you find on community on the ground is different. Maybe you come here with a degree. There's no that job we want for degree. You have to hustle and do a job that is not for people who are learned. Yeah, and when you find when someone realizes and is maybe an agent for radicalization, he can take that opportunity to radicalize someone and take you to that negative activity. Yeah, also our girls, they are being also used, especially those who are in prostitution. We are talking to them, and it's a chain. It's a long chain. Also, poverty can make someone to be radicalized. When someone meet you and hear that you lack basic needs, you can be radicalized through it. So we have a work to do in our communities, especially. But nowadays you can't say at informal settlement, even in a gated community. Yeah, through social media. Yeah, through those people who are run they're in gated community. You find someone, even her family or his family is a big people, but they don't have some ways to get those learned job. They go, and so then you hear that they are terrorizing people. Yeah, so I'm happy to join you and looking forward to do this together in future, and yeah, have more activities, especially what I do. It's inventing youth from different areas, from communities, Kibera, Madare slums, those slums, and also gated community. And I also do visit prisons. Also, people are being radicalized inside the prison. You find someone when he was arrested or she was arrested, he was in a little level of criminal. But when he came out of prison, he's another person. He's not talking about stealing. He's now talking about terrorizing. You see? So we have a work to do in community, also in prisons. Yeah. And I'm happy to hear that we have every party is represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Frederick Casita. I always have a problem with mentioning that street. I don't know whether it's a real name or a street name, I like calling him Pigaluku because he does a lot of good work in giving, in clothing the needy and the homeless in our streets. But thank you so much for your story, really inspirational, and a great story that yes, we can overcome, yes, we can make decisions, yes, our young men have hope, and they can also become change agents at community level, because that is exactly what you have gone ahead and done. So asante sana kwa kazi nzuri unayofanya. That means thank you so much for the good work that you're doing. Allow me to pick any questions. How could you allow me to pick any questions? I don't know whether Ola, you have any question. I am noticing that I have 7 minutes to go.
Yes, I know, I'm aware of that. I know Dave
Yes.
is leaving in about less than 10 minutes. Dave, you've heard the
Mhm.
story of Frederick, and you've seen the clips from Daryl. Now, what are your response, or what do you have to let your view about these two inspiration stories?
The first thing that comes to mind is they're lucky, right? They're lucky. We're all lucky to be sitting here. And although it's taken some hard work, of course, it's taken some resiliency, some perseverance, it's taken mentors and seeking knowledge and trying to be better and become the ideal version of ourselves. Someone's on, can someone mute themselves? There's some feedback there. Although it's taken all of that, there's some luck in it. And so I wonder how lucky some young men or young women are going to be, because they've seen this, they've seen the video, they've interacted with us, and perhaps we have come outside of our comfort zone and went to see a young person to mentor, to help, to have an ice cream with. I'll tell you a quick story. So in the States, we're appointed something called a guardian ad litem sometimes if we're in the juvenile justice system or the foster care system. And so I was in both. I was dual-hatted. I was overachiever. I was in foster care and juvenile detention. And so I was appointed a guardian ad litem, and he, Ron Barnick, took me to have Chinese food at the mall and showed me how to use chopsticks. And I use this analogy, and I bring chopsticks to the States when I do my speaking tours. And I'll talk about Ron because even to this day, I'm about to be 50 in another month or so, and I still think about the instant when Ron taught me how to use chopsticks and how he was teaching me, and the fact that he was interacting with me and showing me how to pick this food up with 2 sticks. And that was profound to me. Profound. Just one little thing. When Ron would take me over to his house and show me things from around the world, just little trinkets that I have all over my house from all over the world. Being in the Air Force for 24 years, I've gotten to live in amazing places. Look, this is an award, one of many, and I'm not boastfully saying, I'm proud though. This is made of koa wood, and koa wood is indigenous to Hawaii. And this is a Volunteer of the Quarter award from 2002. And I keep these things around the house to remind myself of how amazing life can be, and how important it is for one person to show you little things from around the world, as Ron did for me. And I hope that my little trinkets that I show when I speak and do presentations and do tours inspire not just youth, but also mentors, adults that can change people's lives, that can change kids' lives. So Frederick and Daryl, you're changing lives and you're lucky to. And so I would encourage all of us here to wake up every day and realize how lucky we are to be able to change people's lives. That's all.
Thank you, Dave. We truly appreciate you. And I noticed that you're just going to follow from now. We truly appreciate spending time with you and learning from you. And yes, Dave has also shared his email address, his communication link. So should you want to reach out to him, feel free to reach out to him and let us make our global a better place for all of us and share and be traders of hope. Now, I don't know whether we have any questions. Before I hand over the session back to Ola, do we have anyone with a question?
Yeah, Daryl and Dr. Eunice, you've seen the two stories. Yes, what's your response as a psychology? What changed? What need to continue to change? And how do we narrow this to the individual life of a boy child?
Thank you, Ola. And thanks for everyone who has participated. First of all, when I watched the video, sometimes we normally say in counseling that once a counselor, always a client. The moment I saw the video, it was like, with trauma, when one is not healed from either childhood experiences, the cycle goes on. And that's why we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. That if you are not supported, you will end up hurting yourself and even hurting sometimes others. And that's from the clip. You saw what happened. And it goes back what the child experienced, what the young man experienced while he was growing up, and what happened during that time. And because he didn't have the support system, he didn't have time to heal. And that's why our work is too much. We have a lot of work to do. One-on-one, seeing these young boys one-on-one will help boys outside there. And it's good for us that we make use of the space that we have. The way David said that we need to give hope. We can only give hope if there is that space. If you have any opportunity to reach, even if it's one, let us do it so. Rush said that it's good to prevent. Prevention is better than cure. Because these ones who are telling stories now, Christian called it testimony now. It is a testimony. But there are those who didn't have the second chance, chance.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to them? Some of them died. He said that some friends died, Frederick. And he's lucky to be here. So we aim at prevention at home. Any forum, any opportunity that we get, let's make use of it. Be it at home. You cannot serve somebody else. In us discipline services, we normally talk that you protect yourself first before you protect somebody else. So let's start from our homes, where we are, and ask ourselves, are those boys growing under our umbrella safe? If they're not safe, let's start from there. Look at the schools that are close to you. Can you reach out and even request the school administration so that they will be giving you a chance? Even if it's once in a week, like a Saturday, even they can give you 30 minutes so that we give information to these young people. Back to our days, we did, like when we were growing up, we didn't have guidance and counseling at schools. Currently, like here in Kenya, they're advocating for it. Can we go for it? You don't need to be a psychologist to give hope to somebody. The way Frederick is doing, he's doing a lot of work. Is he a psychologist? No. So you and I, we have space. There's so many space for us to maximize and save. Even if you save 2, 3, 4, do it. Do it. Don't get tired. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari. I noticed that Daryl wants to hope off. Just before he hopes off, Daryl, we would love to hear your last words.
Yes,
Just
that's
before you hope off, kindly let us get to hear your voice, Talash.
Yes, Daryl.
Daryl,
before you leave, can you just give us your parting words today?
Yeah, I gotta head out. But it was great meeting you all. I appreciate you guys checking out the film. And I guess my parting word is this issue is a very nuanced issue. And it's you really have to approach it based on the region, based on their specific problems. Because I feel the biggest problem is generalization in terms of the circumstances. And I think there's a lot more success if you are able to approach it based on the specific place, based on really what's happening. Over the past conversation, I've heard about mentorship and all of this stuff. That can work in some circumstances, but some of these places, there's a lot of socioeconomic problems. They're places that are in conflict. So it's not because of a lack of community, it's not because of a lack of role models, it's that certain places are destabilized due to war, due to terrorist organizations. So the problem is a lot complex, and it does need a lot of nuance in its problem solving. And I really appreciate that you guys are here discussing ways to help and doing it. That's really great to see. So yeah, this is my parting words. Keep doing the good work and keep trying to get through, and hopefully that makes a change.
Thank you so much. Participants are requesting for your contact. I will also ask that every one of us kindly leave your contact in the chat box so that at least we can all get to keep communicating. Thank you so much, Daryl. Great work there, and I look forward to just exploring a little bit more of your work. I believe you are on different platforms. What are your platforms? YouTube only, or where else can we find your work?
I'm on Instagram, and yeah, that's I don't really use Facebook much, but I'm mostly on Instagram, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you so much, and we look forward to having more work.
Put them in the chat. Cool.
Yeah, more work. This could be a beginning of a big thing. We might want to do something, a collaboration between Africa and America now that you're there, and see what we can do and put out there some work around the boy child. What do you think, Ola?
That would be awesome. I was thinking in that direction, what we can do with Daryl from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. And it's time, even with Frederick, it's like bringing the two of them together, because one has sailed through to the other side, which is the West, and one is still in Africa right now. And they're both having these experiences that we need to take out there too, for our young men to see there can be a change. I mean, positive.
Yeah. And the one thing though, I did not, I wasn't radicalized. I mean, I hope that is clear in the film.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. It's it was inspired based on living through the war, but you know, my heart really goes out for those that were, you know, Frederick and coming through on the other end, you know, so yeah.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
Ross, do you have any parting word for us? I think
I don't really
anyway,
have...
bye everyone. I gotta have a
Daryl, thank you so very much. Frederick, thank you also. And Frederick, if you would put your contact information in the chat for us, that would be really wonderful. So my parting words are, don't back off thinking that you don't have what it takes. It takes you being you. Simple as that. Share yourself with someone at risk. Thank you very much for putting this together, Ola. We've all benefit, and
the young man from...
Feel free to connect with me at any time. I put my info there. Thank you.
President for Botswana, how is it like being in today's meeting, this webinar? Well, President, do you want to say anything from Botswana? The President joined us all the way from Botswana today, and I hope he's going to come back. With that being said, I want to especially thank all of you for the honor to be part of today's webinar and presentation. I look forward to exploring more on this radicalization. It's just a process. This is the first time we're discussing this. We've earlier had the scheduled date for us to have it, but we rescheduled it. And from all that we've discussed today, what it means is that this is going to be in different segments. We can't just take this just one off and think we have addressed all issues that pertains to boys radicalization. I think going forward, because there is something that Frederick mentioned, which I think Madam Eunice, you will help us in the nearest future, maybe not too long from now. How do boys get radicalized in prison? Prison are places that we expect is going to be for corrections. And from what Frederick said, which is also happening here in Nigeria, you see a young man who is sent to prison, you know, by the time he came back, he became more dangerous. Why do we have this trend in our prison? What is causing this? What is responsible for it? Was it that the prison sets aims and objectives are not really followed to the letters? The outcome we get from our prison, does it justify even sending these boys to the prison in the first place, Frederick? So these are areas we need to also begin to create a conversation around faith. We need to. Because the money government spends on feeding them in prison should give us a positive outcome when they come out from prison. Now, it means that we've wasted our resources keeping them in prison, and they come back from prison to become a terror to us again. So why taking them to the prison in the first place when you know that there are no positive measures in place that can help these boys to turn out when they come out from prison to reintegrate to the society positively? So
I agree with you, Ola.
Yes, radicalization of boys in the prison should be our next focus to explore.
Awesome. We already have our next topic right there, radicalization of the boy child in prison.
Yes.
And yes, you look at internationally, you will look at the prison population, and 80% of prison population across the board are men and boys. So it is important that we actually look at radicalization of our young men and boys through the prison and correction centers system. Thank you so much, Ola. I am noticing that we are way past our time. It's already 11 minutes past 8. I want to appreciate every one of you, including Ishmael, including our brother President, including there was also a gentleman from Mukuru here in Kenya who was keeping our chat alive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year to all of you. We are beginning 2024 strong, and we are going to send this message out there to the world and let them know that the boy is being thought about.
Thank you.
Someone
Happy
cares
Yola.
about the boy. So thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and I wish you all a splendid, blessed, bountiful, beautiful, and full of prosperity and peace and health year 2024. Let's do this in a month's time.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye. Love you all.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.